Why hello there YouTube, Flowcat here, and today we're going to talk about how power creep is soon to be a thing of the past. Now, if you do not know what power creep is, and you are not aware of this whole debacle with power creep, and especially in gacha games, and other games as well, but especially in gacha games, let me catch you up. So power creep happens when a new character comes out, specifically usually in like a gacha game, and they are simply mathematically better than another character who has previously come out in a gacha game. And for most people, this creates FOMO, a feeling that if you don't get it, it's like getting a new phone every year or getting a new car. People do that, and they just like get new things they don't need to get just because it's a little bit better than the last one. And that's a tried and true business method in consumer markets across the world. People do follow trends, and people take advantage of that. Businesses take advantage of that. And so for a long time, gacha games would string along whales and other people by basically forcing them to keep getting the new units that progressively get stronger in order to keep up with harder and harder content, yada, yada, yada. It's a business model that gacha games have followed for a long time, until recently. Now, people will have differing opinions of this, and I'm sure there are going to be people who watch this video and they will tell me that power creep exists very strongly in games today, and that I'm just completely wrong. And yeah, well, if that's you, then I have a feeling that you aren't actually watching my video, and you're just kind of like looking at a thumbnail or at a title, and you're just like, no, I fundamentally disagree with you, and I don't care what you think. So if you do care what I think, here's what I think. I think that with recent gacha games that are lasting longer, that have longer lifespans, companies have figured out that power creep is not a good thing. I will give a very clear example. Honkai Impact has power creep. That game's got power creep. There are units that are essentially obsolete. And so this has created a mindset among those players to expect power creep. That power creep is a thing, new units will get stronger, old units will be obsolete, yada, yada, yada. And so they've kind of continued on with that. And now this is a Hoyoverse game, Honkai Impact, right? Genshin Impact creators, okay? And then we look at a game like Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact, in my very humble opinion, does not have power creep. I think people are wrong when they say that Hu Tao power crept Diluc. I disagree, because I think that fundamentally those characters are so different in the way that their kits function, that to say that one power creeps the other is like saying that like Ganyu power creeps Diona. I know that's a more extreme example. Like, in my opinion, Diluc is a burst DPS and Hu Tao's a hyper carry, and since they play different roles in the team, it's not like one is better than the other definitively. It's like it depends on the context of the situation in which you are placing them, and most people value hyper carries over like situations that require hyper carries over overvaluing situations where they require a burst DPS. And for that reason, when people see Hu Tao functioning better as a hyper carry than Diluc, they just think that Diluc is worse, when in reality that's not the case. They're just different. And Diluc has a 40 cost burst that is spammable every 12 seconds, which Hu Tao does not have. And he's also able to be swapped out in his infusion state, which Hu Tao does not have. There's more utility that Diluc brings to the team, which adds more variety for him for team building. Now, that was a lot, okay? That was a lot, I get it. But the point is that I don't think power creep exists in Genshin. I don't think that characters are designed to be stronger than previous characters. I think that characters are designed to be different, to have a different appeal to them, to function in a different niche, to have a different personality or aesthetic that may or may not appeal to someone. And I think that is where gacha games are going, and where they will continue to go as the market develops. Now, why do I think this, and why am I flying in the face of common wisdom in gacha gamers that power creep is just common wisdom? Everyone power creeps. It's just a thing. We all just accept it. Well, Honkai Impact is a good example yet again, because it was a game that was developed when Hoyoverse was not so big. They did not have the assurances that that game was going to do super duper well. And so they did not have the assurance that their game was going to survive. It was going to last a long time. And many other prior gacha games, like games that are not a part of this modern gacha market, games that are very old, a lot of them have power creep because the life cycle of a gacha game used to be very short. Gacha games would arrive, they would die off very quickly. It was kind of a sporadic market, you know, because their monetization system is extreme, and not all of them are going to do it right, and not all of them are going to be honest about their rates and this and that and this and that and this and that. You know, it's just like, it's a chaotic market. And so a lot of those games didn't have longevity. Now that gacha games have been around for a long time, Hoyoverse is obviously a company that has so much money that they can guarantee that they can finish developing Genshin Impact even if they stop making money today. Even if they stop making money today, they could probably finish Genshin Impact and deliver the product. And so this has led to these companies considering the long-term sustainability of their game. Power creep destroys the sustainability of your game. If your game has power creep and you expect it to go on for 5 years, that means that anyone that plays your game will constantly have to pull every new unit for the next 5 years in order to continue to enjoy your game. That's an insane amount of commitment that is frankly unfair to the player, and it's unfair to people who maybe play for a year, stop, come back, because then they're way behind. Now they're all the units they used to use and all their resources they spent are just useless. It's just wasteful. And also another thing is that gacha games focus on their characters. They focus on the development of really attractive characters from a personality standpoint, aesthetics, whatever it is. They will do their best to make an attractive product because it is their product. When you pull on a gacha banner, you're pulling for a specific character, right? And that specific character is, you want them because they're designed to be, you know, useful in the game, but also they're designed to have a cool personality. Maybe you relate to the character, or maybe you just like their aesthetics. There's many reasons to pull a character in a gacha game, but fundamentally it is the #1 priority of these companies to make their characters attractive to the market, right? Attractive to the players who play the game, right? Okay, if we agree that their #1 priority is to make sure that the characters that they release are well designed, top quality, you know, just the best of the best, and they're doing their best to do that. If they know that their game is going to persist for years on into the future, why would they invalidate all of their previous characters that they've spent so much time and money and effort working on with like 1 or 2 new limited characters that they release every month, which will also get invalidated over the next year or two as new units come out? Like, in that sense, then like, why even play a gacha game at launch? What you should do, if that is the case, is play gacha games when like the last character comes out, because they will undoubtedly be the strongest, and then you should pull that character, beat the entire game, and then quit. But that's not how these games are designed to function. These games are designed to be live service games, kind of developed in front of you kind of thing. You buy in and give the company what you feel they deserve, is ideally what the system should be. Like, the gacha system should be a little bit of a random element. You know, you work with what you get, but also if you get the entire game for free, you can experience the entire game for free. That's sort of what we have come to expect. That if the game cannot be experienced for free in its entirety, if you hit some stopgap where you have to spend money to continue onward, people get way too mad and they will quit the game. So instead, it's kind of this, well, if you like the company, you can pitch in and support them if you choose to do so. Otherwise, just be smart with your resources and you'll be fine, right? That's what we come to expect. Power creep basically makes that impossible. Just makes that impossible. And the more I talk about this, the more you start to see that power creep destroys these games over the long term. If you have a game like Genshin Impact where you're expecting 5 years, all these, like, imagine if we got to Inazuma and all of a sudden Ganyu, Hu Tao, Zhao, all these units were useless and we just had better units. And imagine we get to Sumeru and now all these Inazuma units. Sorry guys, we've got Dia and Kusanali and Tignari and Kale, and these units are just better. They're just better. That is not the case with Genshin Impact. And I have noticed something interesting happening in another game that I'm playing. I have recently been playing Tower of Fantasy, just to kind of see how it competes with Genshin Impact. And I've been enjoying it. It's a decently, it's a pretty good game. It's not I enjoy Genshin more because I care so much about the world of Tevat and Genshin Impact, and I care about the characters a lot more. I care about the polish. It's just all that is very important to me. But in Tower of Fantasy, I've noticed that coming from the CN version of the game, they have balanced the global version. All the units that come out on the global version of Tower of Fantasy are balanced to be more in line with each other. Like, there's a character named Frigg who was released on the Chinese version and is just insanely powerful. I heard a content creator say that the Frost team on the Chinese server is 4 times stronger than every other team. 4 times. That is a lot. That's power creep. That is power creep, right? And then they go over to the global version, and I think it's kind of understood among people that play Tower Fantasy that the Chinese version was their initial go at it, and they made some mistakes, and now in the global version, they're kind of trying to like maybe do it a little better this time, which I think is a smart strategy, right? Well, they're nerfing Frigg, and people are so mad, like, oh, now she's not the best character. Oh, she's not gonna be so super OP. Well, if she was doing 4 times the quantity of damage as everyone else on the Chinese server with Saki and all that stuff, then I don't want that, because that's an extremely unbalanced experience. And if this game is going to have any kind of longevity, then having that kind of power creep, and especially knowing it's going to happen, or like, I'm trying to put it out there, that power creep is not a good business model. Gacha companies have realized, and they are learning, at least the smart ones, that if they want their games to have any longevity, they cannot power creep. It's not going to be healthy for their game. If you have a character that you absolutely love and you spend money to get them, and then they are irrelevant, like a month, 2 months, 3 months, even a year later, then it's going to leave this kind of like feeling with the player base where it's like, you left my favorite unit behind. I invested so much. Like for instance, for me, if I invested into Kazuha and then he was power crept massively by a future Animo 5-star, I would feel like crap. Like, I C6'd him. That's a lot of money. And I did that because I care about his character. And I wanted to kind of show Hoyoverse that I approve and want to support them making cool characters like this, right? But if he becomes useless, why would I want to keep playing this game? It's just a feels bad man situation, right? And people keep saying that it's just sort of like the way of the world is sort of just something we have to accept. But that's just not true. That is a baloney pony, as I would like to put it, quite honestly. Power creep is a bad business model, and it is a thing of the past. Future gacha games and companies, if they are smart, will avoid power creep. Because now that we have games that don't have power creep, it's kind of hard to go back. You know what I mean? Because I have Genshin Impact, and I can do team building where units are not power crept. Instead, over time, we just get more. And that just means more fun, more variety, more characters, more appeal, more, you know, and like that is, we're going to go back to the fundamental thing that these companies want to do, is they want to design well-designed characters and then release them. I mean, it's their product, right? So again, making characters useless in a long-term strategy, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it if these companies want to survive. And if you watch this whole video and you still think I'm wrong, well, then I disagree with you, because I genuinely believe that like we will see these new games like Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail, like the Tower Fantasy Global launch. We'll continue to see balance changes there. I don't think these games are going to have power. Wuthering Waves is going to come out. I don't think that these games are going to have power creep, guys. I just don't think they will. It's not the same as it used to be with gacha games. And these companies realize that if they want their game to exist for any extended period of time, power creep is a net negative for them. It soils the reputation of the game, of the company, and considering they already soil their own reputation by having gacha in general, I think that it's something they'd like to avoid. But yeah, this is something I just wanted to spiel about a little bit. I have been watching like Tower of Fantasy content creators who are like, oh yeah, Genshin has power creep. And then I've been watching Genshin content creators who are like, oh, Tower of Fantasy has power creep. But then if you watch a Genshin content creator, they're like, oh, well, no, power creep doesn't really exist in Genshin because this. And then if you watch like a Tower Fantasy content creator right now, they're like, actually, with these changes happening in global, it's kind of like they're encouraging more team building, like they're kind of shaking up the meta. They're, you know, blah, 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 blah. And really what it is they're squeezing the power creep back down and raising up some of the units that were underperforming in the other version of their game. So essentially it's removing power creep from their game. And sure, the limited units are still better than the standard units, and sure, like SR is not as good as SSR and whatever, okay, but like I think in the long term these companies are thinking, how do we get the most money out of something we've put money into in developing? And it's not by invalidating that product, it's by extending the I mean, you can have rerun banners, and what's the point of having a rerun banner if that character is now useless? So I think this is something we should come to expect as consumers, and if we see a game power creeping really hard, we should speak up very vocally about it, because like I said, I think that it is the direction the market is moving in, and encouraging companies to avoid power creep is definitely a good thing for us. Super good thing for us. This video has gone on way too long, but if you enjoyed it and you got something out of it, you learned a little bit of something, or it helped you, I don't know, some way or another or something, drop a sub. I would love that. That would help me out a lot. Drop a like on the video, maybe comment with your thoughts. Do you think power creep is a thing or not? Do you think power creep is a good business model or not? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. We have a Discord. Link will be in the pinned comment and in the description of the video. And as always, stay healthy, stay hydrated, peace.